I have been dying to make this video for a long time. Now, as a marketing guy, I live and breathe marketing. And as a musician, I love to pay attention to the music marketing strategies that artists use to promote their albums and their singles. So in this video, I want to go over 5 music marketing strategies that worked, kind of. I'll leave that up to your opinion. And I'm judging this based on real numbers, so i.e., did the album generate a shit ton of sales and did the artist make a shit ton of money? So without further ado, let's get into number 1. Number 1, when U2 gifted an entire album to everyone's iTunes library. In 2014, Apple purchased U2's upcoming album Songs of Innocence for $100 million. Remember that. Now, Apple and U2 have always had a cozy relationship, with Steve Jobs and Bono being good friends. U2 first initially helped promote the release of the iPod with a collaborative commercial and their own signature iPod. But after this deal, the friendly backslapping would stop. The Songs of Innocence album was automatically added to 500 million iTunes accounts, which would lead to widespread backlash. Come on. Critics panned the album a disaster as a younger base of digital-only music consumers did not recognise U2. They didn't even know who they were, which as a result only exacerbated negative reactions, as initially, strangely, there wasn't a way to actually remove the album from your iTunes library because Apple deemed it a gift. The phrase, how to remove U2 from iPhone, became a top Google search within minutes, to the point where Apple had to set up a dedicated feature within iTunes to remove it. Now, even though this little stunt was deemed a failure, the Innocence and Experience tour, which was the tour for the album, grossed $152 million from 1.29 million attendees. So even though U2 pissed off hundreds of millions of youngsters, Bono and the rest of the band could still swipe away your tears with $100 bills. They won, it worked. Number 2, when 9 Inch Nails hid USB drives in bathrooms and created an entire dystopian web game. From February to April 2007, 9 Inch Nails fans found strange clues during the band's European tour and in their various releases, leading to an immersive alternative reality game. Fans who purchased 9 Inch Nails merchandise and releases found hidden phone numbers and URLs that led to eerie websites depicting a dystopian future envisioned by Trent Reznor and under George W. Bush's presidency. Some websites contained almost prophetic content, including chemicals in water, supplies, a movement called Artist Resistance, and an image of farmland with the slogan "America is born again" that revealed destruction when it was interacted with. Trent Reznor viewed the game not as a marketing stunt but as an extension of the Year Zero album that it was made for, describing it as the soundtrack to a non-existent movie that only enhances the fan's experience. Now, that's obviously a lot of effort to go to, so did it work? Upon its release in April 2007, the Year Zero album sold over 187,000 copies in just its first week. So it's safe to say, is he a multi-millionaire? I'm not sure, probably, but off of this album, he and the rest of the band largely did pretty well. Number 3, in Justin Bieber posted a series of tweets alleging that he had some stuff stolen, including personal footage during a concert. Then an anonymous Twitter username named Gexwi posted that they had the secret video. Now, what later obviously went on, the two started feuding, things started to get quite a bit heated, and later towards the end of the argument, Gexwi announced that he was ready to show the world the secret video. Now, the video that he later shared turned out to be the music video for Justin Bieber's single Beauty and the Beat featuring Nicki Minaj. Now, to judge whether this strategy actually did help to, promote the song and obviously ultimately make Justin Bieber a shit ton of money, let's face it, he's Justin Bieber, he's going to make a shit ton of money anyway. Now, before we go into the data, because obviously this was centered around the music video, let's focus our attentions around there. Firstly, we've got to look at the amount of views that this music video actually sort of has generated from when it was released up until now. Now, looking at Justin Bieber's YouTube channel, obviously we can see that it's around 1.2 billion. So we're dealing with a fuck ton of views basically. And using some basic benchmarks to judge whether that 1.2 billion views over the span of 12 years, I'll give you that. I'm going to look at the potential revenue that may have generated for Justin and his team and whoever is involved with the song and whoever needs to get paid off of that. But according to the website 33rdsquared.com, 1 billion views can earn you between $1 million and $10 million, depending on your average RPM. And according to the website isthischannelmonetized.com, the average RPM for music is around 75 cents. So it's likely that Justin has earned around $1 million from the YouTube revenue alone. But don't quote me on that, as those rates have likely gone up and down since now and 12 years ago. I couldn't find many useful statistics on the sales of the single Beauty and the Beat, but the album Believe that the song was actually featured on sold 374,000 copies in its first week and was later certified platinum. So both initially and in the long run, Justin has done pretty well on this album. Number 4, in 1995, Michael Jackson sailed down the Thames. Now the details of this one are pretty interesting. In total, Sony spent $30 million to promote MJ's History album by floating a huge Michael Jackson statue down the Thames. And overall, the Thames wasn't the only place that they did it. There was a total of 9 statues throughout the whole of Europe. Overall, that being a pretty bold move to make, did it actually work? So the History album went on to sell over 20 million copies worldwide. So yeah, it did well, but come on, it's MJ, did you expect it not to? Number 5, when 50 Cent and Kanye West had a battle for who could sell the most albums. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson had everything to lose and little to gain by putting himself against an up-and-comer Kanye West in a fabricated feud in 2007. The showdown hinged on which artist would sell more copies of their latest album. With 50 Cent's Curtis and Kanye West's Graduation, it inspired a Rolling Stone cover story later that year, with 50 even pledging to cease his solo career should he lose. He did, and he lost big time. Graduation beat out Curtis to the tune of nearly 250,000 units, but overall Curtis still performed pretty well, partly due to the stunt. But the loss was a resounding blow to 50 Cent's eminence. It also dramatically illustrated that Yeezy was on the ascent. From there on out, 50 slowed down and settled into the role of an elder statesman rather than that of the fresh, young hotshot. But overall, with the details of that one being pretty interesting, how well did it do, who actually won? Kanye West smashed into pieces, and overall the Graduation album won by a landslide, selling over 957,000 units during its first 6 days. 50 Cent's Curtis, which locked down the number 2 spot, sold a modest 691,000 units. I can't believe I just called that modest. It's still pretty good. So overall, what I wanted you to learn in this video is that you can be a bit out there with your strategies. You can do some crazy sort of things. These are the things that generally pick up and do well on things like social media. Any sort of PR type strategy that can naturally bring attention to your name naturally creates curiosity around who you are, leading people to naturally search out who you are and follow the journey, because there's obviously a narrative being told. And yeah, that was pretty much it. So if you like this video, obviously do the normal sort of stuff, comment, like, even follow, that might be great. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. But ultimately, yeah, promote your shit.